Gents, good morning. Coming to you live Sunday service with memes and machines. Some people choose faith, others choose memes and machines.
Sit back, grab a cold beverage from the fridge and relax because you're now locked into the sounds of memes and machines.
You know what? I'll set a bit of context. We've been horrendous at showing up for the last couple of weeks. All very busy, and through the week it's often difficult to schedule. We try and do Fridays. I've probably had the busiest 2 weeks of the last 2 years personally. So it's been difficult, but we want to show up. So Sunday is our jam for now. Chris believes no one is going on LinkedIn on a Sunday. I don't know. I'm a doom scroller on a Sunday morning. That's my jam. So we're gonna find out soon enough. Gents, before we dive into it, give us a couple of headlines on your week. What's been happening? What's been keeping you busy? Chris, hit us.
Yeah, mate, it's been another busy one for us too. Good busy, which is always good. Like restructuring new services, thinking of new AI workflows, testing new things. We'll talk about it later, but we've been testing Higgsfield a lot, and Ben's been doing the same thing, going back and forth with this new AI video platform, just seeing what it's capable of and how we can make it into deliverables for clients and stuff like that. And by the way, when it comes down to Sunday, I would have pitched it on any other Sunday, like doomy, gloomy, rainy, normal England Sunday. Yeah, maybe people will be on LinkedIn, but when it's as beautiful as this, I don't know. Like, if you're here, leave us a comment because we'll see it. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And yeah.
It is unusually beautiful outside in the UK. So I'm not complaining, but you're right. Ben, what's been happening in your world?
Too much. Been drowning for about a month, but I'm still alive. So I'm just coming to the surface.
You know what? Your optimism and morning energy is inspiring, my man.
I know. I just have had a number of brand deals that have all got squished together for some Adobe, Dow, and SanDisks. They're not bad brands to work with. And
Nice.
yeah, good selection. Just made a nice video for Amaran, a lights video as well. So I just had a very quiet Q1. Didn't really find a lot of advertisers were spending too much. I don't know whether that was sort of a knock-on effect of TikTok being banned and budgets being sort of held back, reallocated. But I feel like Q2, in terms of influencer spend, has gone up.
That's a very interesting observation. Do you think, I always question about April versus January for financial windows, because apparently most people have it in April first, but some people have it in January first. So it could have been, imagine if it was April 1st, Q1 is like your last 3 months of budget, from the whole 12 months prior. So likely you're already out, and the TikTok thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting observation.
Find the spend in like Q4 is wildly different than in the influencer space. It's happened a couple of times now where it's just everyone is trying to get rid of their budget, I think, towards the end of the year, or the people and it's holiday season as well.
I tend to think on that the large enterprise, the ones you're describing, that's a lot more seasonal. New budgets will start of the year. However, in SaaS and technology, it's 52 weeks a year. If you're a startup, there's less seasons, right? So
Yeah.
I'd imagine that's kind of an always on. Jens, let's dive into it. We mentioned this before, Higgsfield. You, Chris, you showed me the famous Matrix scene. How that
the bullet time thing. Yeah.
can be created with AI. They've just done they've overtook the internet again with what seems to be some phenomenal features. Just talk to us about Higgsfield. What is it? And what's
Crazy. Like, Me and Ben both suspected that this didn't just come out of nowhere because of how big it's been since the start. And I've gone and done a bit of research now to find out that that's true. Like the guy has come from the lead of Snapchat AI. So he's definitely brought a lot of his like, Snapchat filter ideas and video effect things over with him. So in that sense, it isn't a start from scratch business, like this guy really knows what he's doing. He's now just doing his own separate thing called Higgsfield. It's so new though that it's only been out a month or two, and they haven't got a creative partner program yet. They haven't really done what others have done, like Runway and Kling and everything else, in that they've got set up with community and everything. It is just literally effect after effect after effect. But they're killing it, man. They're coming out with stuff every week. They're keeping people really interested. It's a reasonable price, very smooth transitions. What else is there to say about it? It's like it's so usable, it's so friendly, it's very easy to see like other people's like similar to Midjourney, you have like this wall of creators' effects, and you can see how they've used it, and then get your own ideas. So they're doing a lot of things right.
Yeah, I think it's
Thinking.
I've been when they first came out with the sort of camera movement release, I was like, it was good and better than everybody else, but I guess not necessarily in a way that was like, wow, this is like incredible. It was like, okay, nice. And then they've released sort of the effects combined with the camera, and then it's like, okay, these guys like are playing around with the effects over the last few days, and it honestly, it works pretty well, even after just one generation.
Yep.
Like, and
That's a big point, Ben, the ratio.
yeah,
The like, because it's not just come out and being competitive, it's like one shot. It's like,
yeah,
when you did that, Venom one, which you showed us yesterday, was that the first generation of you doing that?
third. Like, and the first two were pretty good. The third one was just, it had a just slightly different movement when it got up, like, so like, and then I reversed it with a start and end frame. So then start frame was then him at the top, and then the end frame. So then that took about 3 or 4 to just get the right morphing down. But yeah,
Yeah.
like it works. I didn't realize how good the prompting was as well. I'm the one even using the prompting, and I was like, turn me into Spider-Man, and it just does Spider-Man as well. Like I didn't realize that my assumption, because like other tools, were that the effects were a little bit rigid, in that you could only really do what the effect, like pre-built effect. But I realized that the effect is not a pre-built effect. It's like you can prompt like change the color, do it this, and this. I could get the character to do cross the arms at the like the and turn it to red, and it was just doing it. It was just like,
Can I ask a question, gents? Who's the benefactor? Because I'm not a creative in the sense that I make videos or anything like that, but who's the biggest benefactor of the latest advancements? Because is this going to be the creator? Is this the individual? Do brands win in this space? Do agencies win? Who are the winners in with?
Initial reaction is it's going to be music producers and music directors, because the other tools that we've been discussing are more made for filmmakers and serious like people, and there's some red tape that comes with a lot of that. Like you can't get gore, you can't get blood, you can't get violence because they're made for more commercial purposes. Whereas this one, I don't know how they're getting away with Spider-Man, man, and Venom. These are Marvel. These are like massive characters, and I don't know how they're honestly doing it. Like, but just for context, let's watch Ben's thing because I've just loaded it in. This was so cool.
I just used this tool to create this absolutely wild Venom transition in under 2 minutes. No fancy software, no green screen. I'm going to show you how to do it.
That's fucking wild, man.
How long did that video take, Ben?
5
Mate,
minutes.
Like that's 5 minutes.
Oh,
That-
like
that's
like a few generations, and then but if we exclude how long I had to wait for it to load, right, and just say, okay, well, actually, the action of me choosing the effect, like taking a screen grab of me that I wanted, and then putting that in, choosing the effect that I want, click generate, generates it. I'm happy with that one, and then I added some sound effects.
You know what's wild on the timing on that? I remember just go back, I'm gonna say 4 years ago now, and 4 years ago we launched Flight Story, and one of the scenes in the opening video, we were talking about traditional institutions being brought to their knees in one of the lines, and we basically had to emulate Hollywood, a building falling. And it took about a week and a half of an elite video editor kind of trying to emulate that just one scene that lasted for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
That was a week and a half's worth of work, and that was the cheap version, not the Hollywood version.
Yeah. That was still the budget version, yeah. Well, they know so much about this stuff. Like, as soon as you said it, I was like, "Oh, no green screen," and I was like, "Oh, of course, because Ben does these things in the hard way."
Yeah,
Like
because
Ben's doing.
usually to do that with a green screen, and I was more so impressed by, like, I even had, like, my microphone in front of it, and usually,
Right.
like, it's impossible for the other tools to not it mess with a little bit, but it's like black on black, like,
Right.
it's that it doesn't get any much harder for a tool to be able to, like, distinguish that from my top,
Yeah.
and I'm also got a black top in the video as well, and like you said with the Snapchat have had filters for a long time where the basic fundamentals of a Snapchat filter is it can identify the subject and turn them into something at a very basic level. You might have seen it on Instagram or TikTok once, and I think they have taken that technology of being able to identify the object, key it out, so basically,
Yep.
put a line around it, so it is like, that's the thing that we want to change, and then it's now changed. They've just obviously added another layer of sort of complexity to the transforming to a thing, and I just so impressed with how good it's able to just identify me as the object and not change anything in my background, not really change the mic. There was a slight difference in the lighting, a tiny bit, but
Mm.
like you see in other tools, as soon as you sort of mess around with the object, like the thing in the background, like it morphs a little bit.
Yep.
This one just didn't change anything. So they've obviously nailed that, like, object selection automatic process, like, really, really, really well.
You know who I think could also be a benefactor, building on what you said, Chris, of kind of musicians, video producers? I think social media teams. Smaller
Yeah,
social media
definitely.
don't have
Definitely.
more advanced video capabilities. You have
And Pika Labs are the social media AI tools. Definitely. Those two, because of the out of the box effects as well, and the fact that you can get stuff rapidly, like Ben's saying. Like, actually, let's watch this because I literally just before this got the latest Higgsfield 3 effects. And so, like, there's a 40-second thing which shows their new effects so that people can know what we're talking about. Let's watch it. Crazy.
The thing is, most we're so used to AI companies marketing video promos being very much different than what's achievable. That, like, I was honestly shocked. As in, I saw that as well, like, last week, and I thought, of course, they look amazing, but they're not. And then I tested it, and I was like, holy fuck, mine actually looked like that. Like, it
No cherry picking.
yeah, basically, there's a few different, it requires a few tweaking, but you can literally
Yeah.
create.
Facts. Yeah.
I mean, you see the Venom thing. There's all the morphing and the transitions, and there's so many good use like you said with music videos, because music videos use lots of cool
realism.
transition effects.
Anywhere where you do realism. I actually think as well, I've seen tons of really interesting faceless social media pages emerge.
Yeah, it's a massive right now. Have you seen the latest one? Oh my god. Again, this is all spawned from our idea, right? baby podcasters.
Oh, baby, I
Oh
think
my
I'm gonna make a
God.
video on that. I saw
It's
someone do a
killing
video
me,
2
bro.
days
I
ago.
had baby
Pull up
Theo
baby.
on 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I had
Pull up
baby
baby Theo. We need to just show that because that is. I can't look at Theo Von in the same way. I only prefer
I literally saw a TikTok tutorial on it last night, and it did 1.5 million views, and I'm like, shit, look, ChatGPT baby idea. I need to get on with that.
It's so annoying. Do you know Rory, my mate Rory Flynn, who hosts the
Yeah.
podcast hours? He literally messaged me like 12 weeks ago and said, you know what? I've had a really good idea for like Shane Gillis and Bert Kreischer and the whole of Podcastville. We should go and use AI babies and make a whole Podcastville. People have just got there, and it's like we didn't have the time. We were both busy, but we both did it in Midjourney version 2, which was literally 2 years ago. We had baby Messi, baby all these, baby LeBron James. They were all
Well,
there.
you know the lesson there, Chris. You know, when wait for your bullshit. We're too busy. If you got a good idea, you got to go execute. There is a moral in this story. Yeah, gents. I think we should play that at the end because I do think it's hilarious. But
Yeah.
I think the broader point here around a shifting social media landscape. So before you had creators. Then you started to have a narrowing down of kind of niche creators. Now you have all these new worlds being created that are based on new IP, new identities, satire, merging real world with AI. And suddenly there's all these new genres breaking out. And I looked at this page, it was like created, I don't know, 2 months ago, and it's got 800,000 followers. And I just go, there's someone in their bedroom, and I talk about this for young people specifically, that are just, they need to gain digital leverage.
Yeah.
Digital leverage being A, learn how to communicate online to build audience, or B, learn how to utilize new applications, new tools better than anyone else. If you do both of those things, you can like literally transform your life as a content. And honestly, I think it's a fascinating time to be a creator.
Crazy time. You know, Ben brought up clip farming like a few episodes ago, and how this is a big new thing, clip farming. Well, if you go right now to all of Podcastville and you find the best of Shane Gillis, the best of Theo Von, the best of Bobby Lee, all of those comedians, there's actually compilations which are sound bites which you can literally extract and use to run your baby audio. So like there's hardly any effort going in. And this one, which we're about to show, got 1.5 million views on YouTube Shorts, was posted by Theo Von himself and was made by a random freelancer that just had the idea. And honestly, I think it was somebody else's idea that they quickly reacted to and then made it Theo Von version. Because like I said, we had this idea a long time ago, but let's watch it just so other people can see what we're actually talking about.
You know, bees are dying too.
Yeah.
Bees are dying from the heat.
Is it the heat?
Yep. They're evaporating, they ejaculate, and their whole body blows up.
Is that real?
Bring it up, Jamie. I'm going to fucking do something in here.
At temperatures over 107 degrees Fahrenheit, it is estimated that half of male honeybees will die in this manner within 6 hours. Bees ejaculating themselves to death in heat waves.
Fuck yeah, baby.
Oh my God,
Spring
you're
break,
telling the
baby.
truth. I thought you were just
Spring
making
break,
shit
so
up.
did I.
Click on that.
Hell no, dude. This is in, this is in Panama City Beach, Florida.
Bees, click on that link. What happened?
This is Kid Rock's honey. That's who's making this shit. That's
You know, I went on a doom scroll on that page, and it is hilarious. They tried to do it's interesting which characters they latched onto. I think Baby Theo is phenomenal, but they've gone down the full internet sphere. They did KSI. I saw a lot of notable internet names.
What's the long-term value of that, having a channel like that?
Okay, so that's a great question, honestly, Ben, because I think the short-term value is that somebody who's not really a creative can use AI and Theo will post it because it's really good content for them. Like, imagine this, right? Like, it's same with our action figure trend. It looks so lame if you generate yourself. But if somebody generates you as a baby with your clip and you can post it and it's another 1.5 million views, zero effort to the content creator, Theo Von. another funny thing that he can post and just keep the thing ticking over. So I think there's short-term value, but yeah, long-term value, I don't know, honestly.
I'll tell you what I believe the long-term value to be is obviously this sits in a gray area, like the meme economy has for a long time. And we'll touch on this a little later about copyright and infringement. Those assets are very hard to commercialize in the sense that brands aren't rushing to sponsor you. But I do believe it's a gateway to future IP if you're smart. Right now, the person running those pages is just chasing growth.
Yeah.
And they're using a theme, a singular theme to drive growth. Once you have growth and a giant audience, a few things can happen. Sponsorship, ad revenue, plus you can develop that into real IP. So I think many of these assets origins will start as like novel entertainment. But some of the really smart guys or the business ecosystem around will start acquiring these pages. And I actually know quite a couple of entities that are almost laser focused now on acquiring AI generated social media pages. And they're doing it for two reasons. One, the moment to drive disproportionate growth. And two, the cost to do that is now so low. Because once you have a young person that can develop the workflow, they can then start to automate certain aspects. And you now have entertainment on autopilot. So
That worries me and Ben, honestly. As content creators, I just feel like our platforms are about to get full with automated shit. You know, and when the
Let me
1.5
challenge
million
that.
baby thing goes up, you know, the tutorial that shows exactly what we just watched, then people are gonna do that, but worse. So
You know,
that's
but
gonna be
I
like
would, of
filling our
course,
feeds.
look, but I would say there's nothing new here. Nonsense has filled our feeds for a long time. Everybody got a different internet experience. So ultimately, the algorithms are serving quick thrills that people want. So my counter argument would be if you're a content creator, your job is to be inventive around that, find your lane, maybe do things, not play that game. So I think it's an inevitability. Like, I'm not arguing that the feeds will be filled with more and more nonsense, but ultimately the algorithms only serve what people like, whether we like to admit it or not. They just like to see the juxtaposition between a crude adult conversation in the form of a baby. Seems stupid, right? But like, people find it hilarious. I watched that. I spent more time on that page than I have any other page in the last 2 weeks. So I was like, this is like entertaining. And like, part of me is going down and going, okay, well, what does this mean for advertisers? What does this mean for copyright? I want to kind of segue a second because I think this is a really like A, important topic, but B, I think it's one that is very hard to land on a unified perspective on. I'm going to talk about Zuck, and
Shock.
you know me, I have in the past been a bit of a Zuck fanboy, not because I like the robot. I just think he's underrated as an entrepreneur.
Oh no, I like him as well. I'm not hating. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, before I go into this, I don't know if you saw his interview with Theo Vaughn. It was like,
Yeah.
it was the most, I just love the satire off the back of that with people like mocking him, like the most awkward conversation. It was. It was so bad, and but hilarious because it was so bad. Anyway, Zuck, he came out in a recent interview and basically said Meta intend to own the end-to-end ad ecosystem. He walked back a little bit off that kind of vision of the future, but his view was within a few years, you will give Meta your credit card. Sure. You will say, give us a goal, and they will go meet that goal. And for me, that he embodies what the entire technology industry thinks about advertising. They've turned it into a science. They've completely missed the emotive side. They've completely overlooked
Exactly.
the behavioral science that underpins influence. It's not a binary. Yes, an algorithm can serve me something that I'm more likely to click and maybe act upon. but an algorithm actually doesn't have all the answers. Buying behavior is quite nuanced. Things that influence us are quite nuanced. We're all slightly different. So they're phenomenally good at some things. They're not phenomenally good at everything. And I say yet because obviously the advancements we're seeing around us are phenomenal. I'd love to get your take, gents, on like the dystopian Zuck future of the ad industry. It basically says Meta and no one else.
I think it's a massive simplification of what the client relationship is like. Do you think any brand in the world is just going to give over a credit card and go, yeah, put out ads on my behalf of my brand? I trust you, Zuck. No, of course they're not. Like, you're going to want to see the ads, approve the ads, have all their stupid little, like, oh, back and forth, do change this, change that, change this. It's like, that's not how it works, Zuck. Not at all. Like, if I give a client an ad, they're always going to come back with changes. And so if they never see it in the first place, they're never going to agree for it to go live. Like, it's honestly, like you said, automating emotion is the dumbest thing you can do in advertising. I understand the automating of like research, the automating of data and other things, but you just cannot automate everything. It doesn't make sense to me, at least. You know, I always think that humans will tell better stories to other humans in advertising, and an algorithm and agentic thing, whatever it is. Like, and what's to say that Meta's is going to be better than Google's, and they're all going to be having the same fight? You know, like it's yeah. To me, it's oversimplifying what actually happens, and Zuck making it seem like all social media agencies just are pointless.
Yeah, and
It's not even that.
it's not social media agencies. It's the 1% of global GDP that is the entire ad industry. What I will say is that I think it's symbolic, and again, I go back to I think people that have existed in the tech and startup ecosystem have such a simplified view of everything else, and it gives them certain advantages. It's a very binary view. There's a company called Icon that everyone celebrates, and their entire ads
Clone
message.
your competitors' ads in 10
Like,
seconds.
yeah,
They're a load of bullshit, those guys are.
they're so like they go create 100 ads in a minute, and I go 100 ads are worthless. Like
Yep.
the point is advertising. I heard this phrase and I loved it. It basically said that advertising is or mediocre ads are worthless. And that's the truth. Generally, mediocre ads are worthless. It's like having a mediocre football player, worthless. A mediocre musician, worthless. The value is in the 10%. The value is in the best stuff.
Exactly.
The greatest stuff, the magic moments. And it just is a complete misconception. No one needs 100 of anything. Not the brands that work with them anyway, which are usually these shoddy little e-com businesses that have built, a naff business on Meta. So yeah, I hate this oversimplification more broadly from the tech industry. Ben, what are your thoughts?
I think about this a lot with, I guess, moving to this idea of ads being able to be optimized and like rerun and retargeted at scale based off of other well-performing ads in real time very, very quickly. So, for example, I run a campaign tomorrow and I set it up. We do 100 variations of testing. We find the number one. As soon as we find the number one and that starts populating data on the web, everybody else is going to be copying that number one. And then there are 1,000 versions of number one tomorrow.
Yep.
And then that ad then decreases in its performance. And I just don't know what is going to happen when that's achievable. And it's essentially like an ad is a top performing ad for as long as like let's just in a world where it's instantaneous. As soon as or like it's within an hour, as soon as an ad is seen to be performing above average, everybody copies it, and then in the next hour you've got 1,000, and it's not And so realistically, I don't think we're close to like having so many people like being able to access that sort of technology and it happening at scale, millions and millions and millions of advertisers. But I think we potentially are moving to a point like that if all data is publicly available and the systems are built to and workflows will be able to do that, which they kind of are in some areas. People have built workflows where you can just scrape top performing content, feed it back into HeyGen with an avatar, and bang. I honestly don't. I don't know what a world looks like when that can happen. I don't think anybody does. Nobody does.
I think there's two extrapolations of what you're saying, Ben. There's like ads formats are actually not that there's not that much variety of effective ads.
Mm.
Like, great stories have a similar story arc.
Yeah.
You have juxtaposition. The problem with the ad industry actually and technology, what you're describing is a very linear view. So I'll give you an example. Everyone in marketing forgets the fundamentals. We talk about tactics and very specific things. And all the ad industry is focused on is promotion. But the 4 Ps exist for a reason. You have place, you have product, and you have price. Those 3 variables are very significant in everyone's decision-making process. And I'll give you an example. If you show me an ad on a screen in a programmatic environment in a game, it has no affinity with me. It means absolutely nothing. If you show me that same pre-roll in a cinema on a giant screen, the gravitas that I hold, place, who are they placed against? What environment? You can put a cheap product in an expensive store and it elevates my perceived value. Marketing is so nuanced and just this very narrow view of the ad industry that's anchored A to promotion and B to optimizing for clicks.
Yeah.
For clicks, sorry. I think it's just steering so many people, and modern marketeers seldomly think about the fundamentals of marketing. It actually bothers me as someone that's studied marketing for a period of time. I think the bar is so low in our industry to enter it. You go, I can make a TikTok and I can be a marketeer. Well, you're not really a marketeer. You make a TikTok. They're different things.
It's like art though, isn't it? It's like if you draw a piece of something, you're an artist. It's like, well, I think it's much less subjective than people think. I think there is good marketing and I think there is good music and I think there is good art. And I don't think there is like, such a subjective thing. But one thing I'll say about the stealing of ads and Icon, and, it really annoys me because the new Forbes 30 under 30 is, Peter Thiel sponsored our company and Anthony Horowitz or whoever backs us. It's like, they're spread betting, mate. They're literally pumping money into millions of companies in order for one to become a unicorn and the rest to die. So, all hype and all that. Like, imagine this, right? Imagine this scenario. I'm a B2B owner and I sell to B2B companies. And then I go use a platform like Icon, which looks at the best advertising and tries to clone it. And so they identify Red Bull advertising as being the best type of advertising. Now, what has my B2B software brand got anything to do to advertise like Red Bull? Nothing, right? Like literally, that's not my brand. That's not who we are. That's not our tone of voice. That's nothing like us. And yet they'll identify that as the best performing ad you could copy and clone. And it's like, but how copying other people's ads doesn't make any sense whatsoever because they're not you. They're not your customers. They're nothing like you. Like, why are you doing it?
It's such a toxin in the industry. You're right. Because I saw an ad that I was actually going to write about. I saw it 2 or 3 times hit me. And I could get this wrong. I think it was Framer. And I think it was Framer. And they hit me an ad with saying, copy your own website and build it in seconds. And like, obviously they're saying copy your own website so they don't risk legal fee. But what they're basically saying is in an ad, copy something on the internet, someone else as a big company, not like a startup like Icon where they're willing to do like salacious things that could get them in trouble. Framer wouldn't do that. So they stayed in a very misleading way. They're basically just paying to encourage people to steal.
Yeah.
Which is I suppose, is it a byproduct of the society we live in where we devalue work?
No, To me, it's just another one of those, like, we're placating to the people that don't know how marketing works. So, like, for example, if that website, what was it called again?
I
The
think
ad
it
that
was
you
Framer.
Framer. So let's say that Framer
And
goes,
by the way, it might not have been Framer. So
okay, whoever it was. I've seen
like
loads of those ads where it's like, copy your competitor's website. Now imagine that you go, right, okay, who's the best landing page I know? Apple. Maybe someone like Apple and the iPhone. I love the layout. I love the thing. It's like, how do you know you're not Apple? First of all, you're not Apple, right? Like, you're not the world's most valuable company. You're a random social, SME or something in the UK. So first of all, you couldn't be further off from what they know, what they've got, all their history, all that stuff. Like, so why base it on them? Just because you like the look of the landing page, but that means nothing. From a marketing point of view, you would go, that's a terrible idea to copy that website. But without any marketing knowledge, you're just going to look at the most aesthetically pleasing thing and try to clone it, aren't you? Without any knowledge of why, how, or any of that stuff. It's like complete shot in the dark. So it doesn't make sense to me. Again, it's like, why bother? But you'll learn the hard way. You'll get scammed by a company that says you can clone any website. Great, but it didn't work. Why didn't it work? Well, because it didn't have any alignment with you whatsoever. You just copied something that was completely.
I
I'd probably say though, if I zoom out and go, again, we look at it with recency bias. This is like a really explicit version. I think this has been symbolic of how people are behaving today. They copy ad formats. They copy someone else's news to gain attention.
It's great. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why I say I don't know if it's a symptom of the society that we live in now, where it's become so normalized. People are less value led, less principle led. I will say as well, I was thinking, I preach a lot about marketeers having advantage in the world, advantages in the world of technology for a few reasons. One, as things get easier to create, the ability to stand out is ironically harder. So who are the best people that know how to stand out? They're usually marketeers. And I don't mean the marketing industry, because most of the marketing industry aren't marketeers, but I mean people that really appreciate the art of understanding people, understanding how to communicate effectively, understanding how to use levers and channels and work and creative to deliver results. And these people have advantages. And one of our businesses, we've been going through a fundraise, and it's an AI agent for meeting scheduling. And we've spoken to some of the world's biggest VCs in the last few weeks. And interestingly enough, one of their things is, what is it about you guys that believe you can win in this space? It's so competitive. Lots of people are doing it. And our answer is usually very simple. Everybody who are building agents are serving themselves. What we do as marketeers is we learn the customer, we learn the user, we understand the person. We've spent a career obsessing over people and serving them. And that's at the foundation of this product. If we assume that there will be millions of agents that exist in the world, AI agents that support us, there will be brands that exist within that. The Nike of agents in this category, like brand to transcend the functional value. And I preach a lot about these things, why I think marketeers have certain advantages. And all you have to do to win is like triple down on technology and not self-label yourself as like, we're marketeers who just do agencies. Like, just this idea that we're marketing, we work in marketing teams and we build agencies. I think if you can get over that and realize that technology is more accessible than ever, I think you can have tremendous advantages.
Early adopters will in general, yeah. Like, the musicians that are embracing Higgsfield right now to make their music videos will be ahead. Like, because, think of actually, I've got a video. Let's watch it. Oh, actually, Ben, I wanted to show you this one first, because I think one of the most important skills right now is to bring your old skill set to AI. And this person is clearly a video editor like you. So when she's using Higgsfield, basically she's like editing things with her pre-existing skill set to make them extra special. I think her name's Katsu Drop or something like that. I think she's got her handle in the actual thing. I don't know if you've seen this one, but this one really excited me. When I first watched it, I was like, wow. So there's all these people doing these out of the box Higgsfield, but how do you take it to a new level? You bring in your old skills like this. Do you see what I mean?
I have seen her. She's got a lot of followers, hasn't she? I think I've seen her on Instagram.
It's so well done. And like, now that everybody has Higgsfield, just like everyone has agents, Ollie, like you're saying, there's going to be millions of agents. How do you stand above? Like, it's got to be something else, because Higgsfield out the box can give you all these special effects, but everyone can now do that. Musicians can embrace it, creatives can embrace it, CEOs can, whoever can embrace it. But it's like, how are you making it your own? How are you doing above and beyond what you've just been given? Because agents are in Salesforce, they're in HubSpot, they're coming to LinkedIn, they're going to be everywhere. They're going to be in Gmail, they're going to be everywhere. Everyone's going to have their own, like you said. In fact, I think the hardest ones to be, and this is something you've definitely got to think about, are going to be the software level agents. So when I get the next like MacBook Pro and it comes with an agent built into it, or if I get a Microsoft computer or an iPhone and it comes with an agent built into it, why would I use somebody else's agent? Why would I pay to use somebody else's agent when there's one built into the device that I just paid for?
I think you're assuming that it's like more inventive. If you're an independent or a small company, you often have many advantages, and you can't build agents that do everything. So I think what hardware will do will try and serve the majority of user cases. And as a consequence, they'll do things in a relatively average way for most tasks. And I think what you have is this fragmentation of people. Like, my workflow is very different to both of you, and things that are useful in my life are very different. But I do preach just generally of like zooming out away from the technology. And what gives you an advantage is domain authority. If you're going to build an agent for a fashion agency, you should know everything about fashion. You should know everything about marketing agencies. You should know everything about the problems that you're solving. So I think lived experience, the human experience, is a big part of being able to innovate. And to your point, Chris, like, you're right, certain products and services and brands and companies have advantages. They always have. This is not new, though. You know what I mean? Like, the hardware moat is not new. I actually think, if anything, the opposite will happen. There's probably more displacement.
Even just seeing
It's kind of happening with, and it's very unclear who's going to be the winner in 2-3 years. Who's going to be the de facto model? Will we have one model? Will we have multiple? I don't know. I don't know. It's very unclear who's going to win now.
I agree, because the monopolies are stopping, aren't they? Kind of like Google's been told it's got to sell Chrome, and Perplexity and OpenAI want to buy it. You know, that's going to massively shake things up if Chrome gets sold off. The biggest internet browser? Because again, that's one of those things. That's like Microsoft Word. Everybody's got it, you know? Every school I ever worked at has always had Microsoft Word. Why? Because Microsoft gave it away for free, so that then they can ship updates and sell them other things. And then they'll get Microsoft Teams and paid plans. Like, in like business, this is called a loss leader. You know, Microsoft Word costs a lot to maintain and keep, but you give it away for free based on it being the most useful thing to most people, and then they buy other things from you. So that's like the way to strategize getting your thing to everybody. Even though Word's not the best, it's just free and easy and everyone uses it. It's like, that's the model of AI, it feels like. It's like, spread it out, and then you, like Zuck's going full open source. It's costing him billions to make Llama 3B, and then he gives it away. Why? Because he's collecting more data. He's getting more users than if you had a subscription model. Like, he knows that the power is having the attention, not in the direct, easy monetization instantaneously. Like, and so, yeah, like, that's one thing I will say for Zuck. I am impressed that he sees the open source, and he's been able to, like, he's shut down other projects, like his metaverse, billions of dollars he's taken out of metaverse, put it into AI in order to open source it. And many people question that. And I think, no, he's really understanding. Like, this makes sense in AI, not to ask for $20 a month, but to gather the data instead. Look at the whole of Meta. It's always been you're the products because you don't pay.
You know who's the winner in this, though? I would say the end user, because everybody is subsidizing the most powerful technology that's hit our shores in decades, and everyone is subsidizing. It's a race to the bottom on price.
Which is like, you don't think token costs would
Competition
go up
helps.
if
Yeah, it really helps.
there was
If there was OpenAI, if they had a dominant market, you don't think that they would jack up their prices, make it accessible? Absolutely.
Of course.
So yeah, it's
Still trying to, by the way. And like Gemini from Google is really undercutting them now. Gemini is by far the most like reasonably costing for 1 million tokens. And it's actually now the most powerful. And 6 months ago, me and Andrew, my co-host, said, where the hell is Google? Where the hell's Apple Intelligence? None of it was in the race. Now they're best in 7 categories.
Apple has dropped the ball though.
Apple's terrible. They are the biggest disappointment of all these companies. I'm really shocked by how far they've let down AI, actually. Their Apple Intelligence is so embarrassing. It's Microsoft is eating their lunch because if you think about it, Microsoft's got 49% share profits in OpenAI, and they just bought Windex, which is like the most powerful coder, and like, you know, they're just eating up the AI. Whichever AI wins, Microsoft has invested for it to win too, which is like, you know, actually the Zuck approach, like buy your competitors so that they don't get anywhere near your size and then absorb them so that, you know. Anyway, Ben, I want you to watch this one, mate. This is my favorite use of Higgsfield from a musician, 1-minute music video, and he's used loads of the effects that we used, and yet this is him making it into his own thing. You know, he's made it into a music video. He's clearly a rapper, and like he's put together this Higgsfield thing, which imagine how much this would have cost, right? I'll actually answer that question once we watched it. How much do you think this would have cost to produce this piece of content prior to Higgsfield?
Round up a chair, make a mess on. I don't play around, get strapped on. Anybody in the way, get stepped on.
That's crazy. That's just crazy that you can just sit and do that. Like, we know that those, like, that's a good showcase of exactly someone who's a musician who clearly doesn't have this background can get the same effects as what we showed in the demo earlier. You know, literally, they were almost exactly like the demo reel.
So he made that himself. That wasn't like an outsource.
That's a musician making his own music video,
Oh, that's phenomenal.
isn't it?
But
It's a creative that's now got access to
Yep.
video capabilities, fundamentally, right?
Shot it all on his own camera, filmed himself, just used image to video workflows like me and Ben have been experimenting with for the last 2 weeks. Like, must have made that for less than $100. But like, how much would that have cost prior? Like a nuts amount. And it actually works there, you know, like turning yourself into dust and all these edits and transitions and floating and all that. That's a music video. Like, it's surreal, it's cool, it kind of looks like that. It makes sense to use there. A business couldn't automatically just pick that up and do that stuff. You know, like their advertising wouldn't look like that generally. Like, that's more VFX for music videos as I see it. But I wanted to know Ben's thing.
Yeah, I like the effects in it, but I think the creative direction was pretty shit. Because
Yeah.
he obviously has just like used all of those tools, but I don't know what his skill set is in directing a music video.
Probably zero. Probably
I
zero.
think, yeah, it's like there wasn't any synergy or flow. It seemed like he was just throwing random effects in every 5 seconds, which is
It was almost like a show off of Higgsfield, wasn't it?
yeah.
For what the effects of Higgsfield looks like.
It still just showcases the need for a skill like that in itself, rather than just layering effect on effect on effect. You know, you need some good creative direction and flow and synergy between what's being shown, which is what we've obviously talked about for weeks and weeks and weeks about sort of experience, taste, design, you know, and just having that like a layer on top to be able to utilize the skills to produce the best output.
I won't comment on the video or build on that, Ben, but what I will say is a marketing initiative clearly did the trick. I've never heard of that artist. and we're talking about him on a Sunday morning in the UK. Assume he's America. Like, the point being is, by doing that as an initiative, taking features, having the industry go, oh, a load of people that aren't as creative in tune will just go, that's amazing, because they connect AI made music video by unknown, or it may be known. I have no idea. I'm being disrespectful now, but the point being is, yeah,
No, I think he was a pretty underground rapper, actually. I found it randomly on X without hardly any engagement. But I like what you're saying. Like, I agree with both of you, actually. I think in Ben's case, when we watched Katsu drop and then we watched that back to back, that's why I wanted to do that. Because you're like professional editor versus first time musician making his music video. You're like, okay, so that's the base layer now. You know, like everybody's going to be first time using Higgsfield if they're aware of it, which very few people are, by the way. You know, that's one of your early advantages. You can have no experience, but just be keeping up with the AI news and know about Higgsfield, and therefore be an advantage. But like, if you are doing all of that, plus you have a creative editing background, you're going to be way ahead. Because like, so that's the thing is, it's exciting times. Like, I think the reason so many people are fearful of AI is because the bar keeps raising. You know, Higgsfield now has the smoothest VFX transitions, whereby you could have tried all the other previous stuff and not get anything like that. And so if you were less aware of that, then you're going to...
So Chris, I read a beautiful post that was talking about design that embodies this. Forget the platform for a second. It said, it was in context of designers, and it said AI is now exposing designers. And I extrapolate and go, AI is exposing a lot of professionals. Take designers, creative, you know, who really has underlying talent, vision, thought, purpose, who can inject those things into their work. Gents, just to conclude, I want to, Ben, you mentioned before, it wouldn't be a Sunday morning if we didn't have a rant from you.
About something.
Scott is sits the hood up. He's ready to go. He's like, he's on the dark side of the force.
That's him about to be a menace. I got my stress ball here for when Ben starts popping off. I'm going to mention a word to you, and it isn't a wearable called Whoop, but it's something called Whop. Tell us what Whop is. Why does it annoy you? And why should anyone be paying attention or not paying attention to
Well,
it?
they're doing some cool things. It's a community.
Oh, get off the
one.
fence, lad.
Come on.
Like, some people have been talking about it on LinkedIn. Like, but the main thing that they're doing is these creator rewards programs. Drake did one, and then somebody else did one. I don't know what the guy. So, a guy posted on LinkedIn who's compared his to Drake, and I called him out and I said, "Well, you can't just say how many views our campaign did if you don't tell us how much you spent, mate. You know, oh yeah, we 7x'd over Drake's campaigns. Yeah, you might have spent 20x more money, but you can't give results without then telling how much you spent, for God's sake." So like, but this is besides the point. It's potentially going to become the new Fiverr within the influencer space, which is not good for creators. They're positioning it like, so a brand goes to Whop, they say they want to run a campaign, they want creators to make a video on this, we're paying out $3 CPM. That's, I think, what the average is. People who are like, I don't know, the kids of the world, you know, the people that do, you know, they obsess over the TikTok creator rewards program, which is the same thing, but that's very different in that when you make money through ads reward programs on platforms, you're not making videos for brands, you're making videos on whatever you want. And the benefit of that is that you get money through ads. This is now like promoting ads for brands, and they're going, oh yeah, $3 CPM, like you only get $1 on a TikTok creativity program. This is 3 times the money. And they use it. I don't like that way of positioning because it's making it people who don't know what they don't know think that that's good. But $3 CPM is absolutely terrible. And like, what are they getting for that? Like, just to put that into context, what
does CPM mean just for the viewers? Like, it's cost per
1,000 views. So if I get 100,000 views on a video, I'll get $300. That,
right.
quite frankly, is fuck all, to be honest, because that's not even paying for me to do the work, like the actual time. I get how this model works, but I did have a quick look on it last night.
Thing
I
they don't
did-
win. Yeah.
Did have a look on it last night, and absolutely no surprise, half the campaigns have the word meme in it, crypto. I knew this platform is this it screams crypto bro platform.
Yeah.
They have fucked their marketing. They have overlooked. Oh, look at us. We've got Iman Gadzi as an investor. Yeah, that's not a good thing, because he comes with an army of minions that are all just get rich quick bros that want to just like buy and sell meme coins. Like this, they will never attract enterprise. And that is the bigger market. They will only attract people looking to spend as little money as possible to hopefully get some results. And while I think some will, I think a lot won't. Because like every view is not the same. You know, just because my video gets 100,000 views, like me making a video that's got 100,000 views versus somebody that is like faceless, right? Not to say that mine is more valuable, but you know, they're different, right? You know, there's and I think on these, I think a lot of people make faceless content from this. I don't like it. It's going to drive the value of the creator market down, because essentially like Fiverr now, brands can get a content service they can out there that is undervaluing creators and cheaper. I hope it doesn't last and it burns. I think it will, because I think they fucked their marketing up, and they're like, oh yeah, look at the new tech bros. Like, if you see all the hype, but you don't see the negativity. And I read a lot of negative things. User experience is really bad. They have focused far too much on the person making money. Oh yeah, like come on this platform, start a community, make money. No focus on community. No focus. It's a community platform, but all the focus is on the community owner making money. And to me, that's a red flag. You know, you don't build a community platform and do all your marketing about how much the community owner makes. It's not a community platform.
Is it safe to say, Ben, that you will not be getting a sponsorship deal?
If I see any brand on there that I know,
Yeah.
they've gone down in in Lovable. I've seen Lovable. I've seen Lovable on there.
Well,
Well, they've marketed.
what you're explaining, Ben, is like a really important point that I think too many people make the mistake of. They conflate views with influence.
Yeah.
Very different things.
You can buy views. There's
Yeah,
no
well,
influence buying views.
the point here is, Chris, is you're not buying views per se. It's like organic content that's reaching people.
But
But the
I'm
whole-
no,
yeah.
but
Wait, I'm trying to make the
Oh
distinction.
yeah.
I'm going to make the distinction. Let me finish the point first. I'm trying to make the distinction that you can't conflate audience with influence. You can't conflate views with influence. They're very different things. Someone who has built authority, credibility, has probably had to play a longer game. They probably have domain expertise that hasn't been focusing on content creation, but their authority over the people that listen to them is way more significant. And I think you have this emergence of the modern social media industry where they haven't paid homage to all the industry that came before them. Like, think of like early social media marketeers now. They've cut their chops. They understand. They've seen these like hype dynamics play out over and over again. And like, I just think this is just a reinvention. And you mentioned it there, Ben, is like, you've got this just awful bit of the internet that sells courses, that buys meme coins, that is just commercially minded, just trying to make a quick dollar. You've kind of got this undertone of these idols, the Andrew Tates, the Iman Gazis, like just captivating young minds and giving them the wrong influence. And this is like the trash corner of the internet.
You might argue and say, well, based off of that influence sort of statement that you made, that the $3 CPM is actually therefore justified because you're not buying influence. But then I would be really interested to find out what the conversion of some of these campaigns are, because I bet you don't get that broadcasted on that. Oh, look how good Whop is, yeah? You can pay $10,000 and get 1 million views and it only costs you this amount of money. Yeah, but what about conversion? You know, what about conversion? Because ultimately, you might go, okay, there's a brand awareness campaign. Okay, but we're not in control of the creators that's spreading the brand awareness. and we've talked about this before, Ollie, that is a huge risk in my opinion. If you're saying like go out and create videos on our tool, like, and you're paying people and you're not in control with what they're creating, like a normal sort of influencer campaign process, 100,000 views on a could be what? It could be like
It's basically what Chris said
you're
earlier.
putting the brand in the hands of
Oversimplified.
people.
Oversimplified. It's that there's no other better way of saying it.
The fact that Lovable was the only brand you recognize on there just makes me think it's a bunch of pyramid schemes and crypto meme coins.
It
And
will be
Yeah.
like all these just sort of, I mean,
And you know how it'll get shut down, Ben, is that the financial regulators will find out it exists and then see it as a form of advertising. Because that's the whole reason.
precisely, it is a form of advertising.
Yeah.
No, none of these motherfuckers are declaring it as an ad. Absolutely none of.
This is their gray zone right now where they're financially getting around the advertising standards because, officially meme coins are not allowed to run paid advertising. So they're doing this like alternative, like let's give out, $3,000 per million views in organic. Like, as you're saying, it's just a third party advertising platform. So yeah, for me, it makes no sense. And the people that, do that, like company wise, are either desperate or scams. Like there's no going to be real brands doing that because I don't know, it just doesn't make sense. Like,
I think principally though, what I did do like about that sort of click farming economy is I don't like the platforms, I don't like the participants right now, but I think there's a broader movement towards social media not being channels, social media being an ecosystem. And I remember a few years ago, the NBA came out and gave their back catalogue to a select number of creatives and just said, go produce content. So I think there's things that marketeers and brands can learn about how they treat their IP, how they can give their IP and put it in the hands of creative people to create a lot of value. I think there's lessons in it. The industry that's formed right now is just a scam. It's like a scam. It's inevitable. It's probably going to fail because it's illegal what's actually happening. It breaks every advertising law in every jurisdiction. But I do think there's lessons in the idea of reframing how you think about marketing on social media.
No, I'm just trying to. They've got a little For You page as well where they're just like the app's so buggy, like, and it's just it's run by somebody that's quite young. Not to say that's a bad thing, but I think they got a lot of money investment.
so there's a lot of these new things,
Oh, Icon. Oh yeah, we didn't even get to touch on that. Right,
Yeah.
Icon. Oh,
Next week,
I've been on it. I've been on it. Shit, my friend has used it. Says
Really?
yeah, it's just a wrapper. It's a wrapper, and basically like unusable. And bro sat there going, "We've just built the biggest AI tool ever. We've got investment from
Peter Thiel and all them.
yeah, and your tools shit, mate.
Yeah.
Like
The
I
number
can't
one Y
Combinator back. Everybody on LinkedIn was hyping it up. The irony is that he sat there in his video with his hood up as well.
Yeah.
Like he sat there like this in his like opening video, and I'm like, man, like you want me to trust you? Like,
I know.
ironically, I am sat here like this as well, but I'm not. If I'm making a promo video for my multi-million company, I may be looking a bit more with my hood up.
Great hoodie. Don't disrespect the hoodie, Ben. Love it.
Yeah, I'm wearing this hoodie like this, and I'm just gonna sit there and like be like, yeah.
In a way, though, Ben, do you think it's trying to like, because the bros that watch that are those guys in hoodies that are trying to rip off ads and trying to do scamming things. Like it's almost. But again, like, it is funny that he is using famous names, famous money from a certain place. And actually, the biggest red flag you could see is everyone on LinkedIn's talking about this. Because why? Because they're not good enough to break through like Midjourney or actually have the users talking about how good it is. Like that's the biggest red flag to me is when a bunch of influencers I've never heard of all of a sudden start pushing this one tool. That's a massive red flag to me. Just like it is like on YouTube advertising, because we're in SEO, we're in digital marketing. We know that, no offense if you're watching, Wix or Squarespace are terrible website builders for SEO. But why do they sponsor every YouTube video? Because if you don't know anything about digital marketing or website building, you're just a content creator, small business owner, you'll see that and you'll go and use their platform because you've got no knowledge that that's actually one of the worst platforms out there for SEO. So it's like,
You know,
I-
lads, I will say, if we ever did want to get this podcast sponsored, I think it's going to be impossible.
that's
There's-
the
there's
problem,
way-
mate, is people that want to sponsor aren't the best out there. You know, like it's me and Ben know this to be true. Midjourney's never spent $1 on marketing. Not a
Somebody's-
single dollar.
Somebody's got to call out these brands that are just false marketing. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sick to death of
I
it with
agree,
these
mate.
AI tools. Like,
I agree.
stop lying. Stop
Yeah.
lying. Simple.
It's
as
one of
just-
two. We've talked about it in this podcast. It's either what you said earlier, which is cherry picking. So every single one of their demo reels looks shit hot, and then you
Yeah.
try the product and it's terrible. Or it's spray and pray influencer marketing. Get this out so that everyone's talking about it, creates a buzz. We get a whole bunch of new onboards, and it's just a constant having to keep people coming on board type thing because we'll never get customer lifetime value because the actual product is terrible, and it's just duping more and more people over and over again. But both of those things are terrible.
Yeah, I think
know?
the point I was going to make earlier, in line with that, when we were talking about ads being more, the ad ecosystem being more saturated, and I think fundamentally people that will win are ones that have good brand and a good branding, good product. Simple as that. Because, like you said, not everything is going to be able to be copied based off of how you set up your branding and your messaging, your colors, your logo, everything, right? And so fundamentally, it's branding, I think, is going to become more powerful, and it's also going to become account just, does your product do what you say it does?
Yep.
Because 80% of the market right now, it doesn't.
No.
Especially in the AI SaaS space, you know, like, and that just damages trust from day one. When I go to your website, I am expecting it to do this, and it doesn't do anything close to it. I'm like, I'm never using you again.
So big shout out to Higgsfield. That's the most on point I've seen a demo to an actual experience. And
Yeah.
you know, you said something earlier, Ben, which I'll close this out. Like, this is crazy, man. The fact that they've come out of nowhere, launched, and your text you can control on top of your multimodal input of image and video. That's nuts. To be in the top 3 straight away from not existing, massive kudos, as well as all of the way that you released it and how people are loving it. I'm personally going to send hundreds of people to Higgsfield like I did with Midjourney because I love the experience. Not for any other reason. I'm not being paid by them yet. I hope to get paid by them in the future by showing them this level of, like, you know, enjoyment now, but it's authentic, it's real, and I actually enjoy the experience. You know, that's why I'm willing to do it.
There is no better than if you have an amazing experience with a product, you will tell 100 people. That's the
Exactly.
truth. You will tell 100 people. I've been shilling whisper flow to anyone that will listen because I like to orate. We all have these moments where we have a delightful experience with technology.
Yep.
We interface with it and we tell everyone we need to know. Anyone who will listen. And just, gents, just to wrap this up, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Icon.
Just make good products.
Imagine that.
Just bringing you, please go down.
Everyone's just FOMOing into the market with products that are half baked. Simple as that. Like, everyone's like, oh shit, we need to launch a SaaS company doing this because we need to do it like next week, you know. And
Bro, it won't get any better vibe coding. Just with
so it absolutely will not get any better with
No, it
vibe
won't.
coding because these bros think that they're just spinning up Amazon tomorrow.
I showed you that meme, didn't I, with the UFC fighters that were blindfolded that were trying to punch each other, and one was called Vibe Marketer, Vibe Coder, and the other one was called Bug in the system, and they just
you know what people forget about, like, products, tech, industries, like, you know what underpins that business? And business is difficult and requires a lot of thought, a lot of depth, a lot of knowledge, a lot of things working with you. That's the bit that people are missing. But anyway, gents, look, fun conversation.
Yeah.
Better than church, some would say. I haven't said that because I wouldn't be blaspheming on a Sunday morning, but that's what some people say. Over and out.
Yeah,
Sweet.
cheers for tuning
Bye,
in,
man.
guys. We might be on a Friday. Look out for us on a Friday in the future.